self-awareness, seeing ourselves as others see us. Who are we? Are we what we think of ourselves, or what other people think we are? You see, if there's anything that we must know, we must be aware of, is ourselves. We care so much about knowing about people, about situation, about concept, but the most important thing to know, to be aware of, is ourselves. But the rarest thing that people know are themselves, because of all these distractions. So I want to share with you some strategies that will help you have this kind of self-awareness, so that you can put yourself in a position of optimizing your success and minimizing your mistakes and your failures. Life is too short to be distracted from yourself. So how can I maximize my life so that I can achieve more in a shorter time? In a shorter time, it takes other people. So you're always ahead. So when we talk about self-awareness, we have to talk about who we are and what other people see who we are. Am I more of what I think of myself, or what other people think of me? And you are a different person from any person you meet. From everyone you meet, you are a different person. To somebody, you are a hero. And to another person, you are a villain. To somebody, you are very kind. And to another person, you are a very bad person. Someone will look at you as if you are very kind. Somebody will look at you as quiet person who does not talk. Somebody will look at you as talkative. So which one are you? You are a different person to everyone you meet. You will never truly know yourself the way other people do. Have you ever had your laughter the way other people do? You will never see the way your absence lingers in the room that you used to feel. There are so many perspectives of our lives that we will never see, that we will never know. But people know about it, but we don't know it. And that is why self-awareness is important. Because to you, you are just yourself. But to other people, you are 1,000 stories. And these are the stories you will never get to hear and you will never get to read. 1,000 stories you've missed. Then, who am I? And let me start by asking you this question. Do you think you are more of what you think of yourself, or what other people think you are? Are we more of what we think we are, or what other people think we are? So we are more of what we think we are. Is that what you think? Eh? So we are more of what other people think we are. A little bit of both. So you had to blend the two. So you cannot just ignore whatever people say about you and just concentrate on yourself. And you cannot also ignore what you think of yourself and just focus on what other people think you are. So, but how do you blend the two? That is how do you maintain the balance? Are we more of that? Is it 60% them and 40% me, or 60% me and 40% them? What do you think?
What people think about it will be higher than what you think about yourself. Because if you are considering what you think about yourself, it's like judging yourself. You understand? But when you are putting in your best, any area of life you find yourself, then people will have to think.
Yeah.
Something about it.
I agree with you. This is. You want to add more? Please, feel free. And you know, I like the other team too, the last batch. They were very active, just the way you are, and I appreciate that you are also like them, very, very active. Okay, there's another. Okay, let me hear a new voice before I come back to you. Go ahead, sir. Can you pass the mic to him, please? So let the moving mic be ready at any moment. Yes, please.
I consider myself first, in the sense that as a grown-up person, that you know the wrong and the right, first of all. You don't think of what people say about you much. You don't give that so much concern, in the sense that I agree with him by saying 30, 70, 30. First of all, do your own part. Because when you talk of your own self, are you satisfied with whatever output you are bringing in? Before you think of people, and bear in mind, people will criticize you.
Yeah.
That is why I give them 30% to have to strike a balance. So, first of all, personally, I think about myself, am I satisfied with this? Thank you.
All right, that's brilliant. Okay, let's take one more comment. Okay, go ahead before the mics arrive. Yeah.
I will actually progress and learn fast. That only myself that will work.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it's about positive mindset and self-esteem. Sometimes you don't want people to put you down because you think of yourself of higher capacity. Other people might think less of yourself. Yes, sir? So you see, so we have divergent opinions in the group about how we more of what people think we are or what I think I am. And that is why I want to introduce you to a tool called 360-degree evaluation. 360-degree evaluation is a tool, 360-degree evaluation. It is a tool that will help you to now balance the two, bring the two together. You are now weighing your own self-evaluation and other people's evaluation of yourself. Because there are other parts of you that you don't see. You see, we love ourselves so much that we don't see our weaknesses. We don't see our bad sides. Even when we take photos on our phone, what do? We delete the bad ones and we leave the beautiful ones. So the image we see of ourselves is always the beautiful one. But other people could see the other ones that are not beautiful. So human beings are selfish sometimes, or most of the times. And so how do you now blend the objective and even the subjective judgment about yourself and what you think of yourself together? So this is how 360-degree evaluation works. So the first thing you need to do is to identify the qualities, the traits, the skills that are most important in your life. And now ask people around you, plus yourself, to rate you on the scale of 1 to 100 on these traits. For example, am I approachable? Am I simple? Am I kind? Am I honest? Am I a great communicator? Am I empathetic? Am I a good leader? Am I anything that is most important in your life? Now list these things and rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 100. Am I kind? I might think I'm 70% kind. 70% kind. But when I ask all the people around me, and that is why we call it 360-degree evaluation. So you ask all the people in your life, your spouses, your children, your colleagues, your friends, your business partners, anybody around you should participate in this evaluation. That's why it's called 360-degree evaluation. 360-degree of yourself. Everybody must participate in this evaluation. And then you compare your assessment with their assessment and see if there's a gap between what you think of yourself on this thing and what other people think about you on these things. Now, let's take an example. If I think I want to know how generous I am, and I rated myself 90% generous, 90% generous. But when I asked all the people around me, they rated me on average 20% generous. 20% generous. Is there a big gap between my self-evaluation and people's evaluation on generosity? Yes, there's a big gap. Because other people think I'm 20% generous. And I think of myself 90% generous. So which one I am? Should I go for what I think? Or should I go for what people think I am? So in this case, when there is a wide gap between your evaluation and other people's evaluation, it means that you need to work more on this thing. When you are doing 360-degree evaluation, any skill, any trait that you discover that is a wide gap is an area where you need to work more on. For example, communication skill. Somebody might think she's a great speaker. She's a great communicator. But other people think she's not. Maybe because she's introvert, she does not speak up before people. But deep inside herself, she knew she's really a great communicator. But maybe she's not expressing it out. People don't know. So we are what we express to people. And of course, when she's asking people around her, everyone will rate her maybe 10% communicator. But she might rate herself 90% communicator. So we are now back to the same situation, which means even if you are good at it, you need to work more on that area or in that area. But in the event, now you ask people about another trait. Let's say simplicity. Am I a simple person? Am I humble, down to earth? And you think you are 95% humble, and the whole people around you think you are 90% humble. Then are you humble? Eh? You are, because there is convergence. There is concurrence. Because what you judge yourself is what other people also equally judge you. So that way you know that this thing, you got it. So just keep on doing it. So this 360-degree evaluation gives you one of the finest self-evaluation that you could not get anywhere. By showing you the areas where you need to improve, where you need to work more, and areas to keep on working on them because you are doing well in them. So do this kind of evaluation. The first thing you need to do is to identify areas that are important, be it in your life or in your organization or in your business, and then see which skill do you need to work more on. Maybe sometimes some people, they need to work more on their anger, on their temperament, or communication skills, or generosity. There are so many areas that are important. Rate yourself first, and then ask other people to rate you. But here is a caveat. When you are asking people to evaluate you, make sure the response, the evaluation is anonymous. That means you will not know who gives you so-so evaluation. So that people will not be intimidated, so that people will not worry about the consequences of being objective in their assessment. So, spurious directors, senior executives should allow their subordinate and the junior officers to evaluate them through a 60-degree evaluation. There was a chief executive, a technology company, who was a bully. This is the kind of person that will bully his staff, bully his subordinates, and he will freeze you if he does not like you. If he does not like someone, he will not allow that person to speak. He will always overrule this person. He plays favoritism. You already know that he favors so people, and he dislikes other people. Even when you try to point it out to him, he will now turn the blame to you. He will shift the blame, and you appear as if you are the one with the problem. So he became a serious problem to the organization, and leading to job satisfaction, low satisfaction, a lack of interest from the staff, and the performance of the organization went down, and he was eventually sacked. So the fear is that when you grow through the organizational ladder, when you grow to higher level, you lose the opportunity of knowing yourself. Because people are scared, are afraid. People don't have the guts and the courage to approach their senior executives, their superiors, and tell them about their quirks. Because they are scared about the consequences. What if I say my boss is not generous? What if I say my boss is not simple? But your boss needs to know about it. So how much you know about yourself at a junior level, at lower level, is big. You know yourself well. So the gap at a junior level is small. That is the gap between what you know yourself and what other people know about you. The gap is small. But the gap is wide when you grow through the ladder. When you go to the higher rank, people are afraid to speak to you. There was a participant who narrated her story about her boss. Her boss, she always thinks she's the most kindest woman in the world. Very generous, very simple, everyone likes her. But behind her backs, everyone insults her. Everyone complains about her. I should go to this board meeting conference and say, hey, my staff, they like me. I'm the best person. But people don't have the guts to speak to her. And even when she asks people, okay, how do you think I'm doing? Am I doing well? Hey, madam, you're doing well. Hey, you're a great woman. So people will not be sincere in giving evaluation out of fear. So 360-degree evaluation gives you a free environment, a safe environment where people can say their minds without fear of the consequences. Because there are certain negative things about us that we will never notice until when someone points it out to us. So allow people to give you this opportunity to see yourself where you never see yourself. And it's not only senior level. You, at a middle level or senior level, even a senior, they have their seniors. At any level you are, even if you are the junior rank, the middle level rank, any level, you can conduct your own 360-degree evaluation. You can even go to your boss and say, boss, please help me evaluate myself. Evaluate me, please. Rate me on the scale of 1 to 100 on these traits. Then go to your wife, go to your children, go to your colleagues, go to your friends, and let them evaluate you and see which of these traits. There's a wide gap between your own assessment and the collective assessment of other people. Are we together? So that is 360-degree evaluation that allows you to see who you are. Because as you grow through the organizational ladder, the self-awareness diminishes. And because people like themselves, they don't want criticism. So this way, you are now taking it with positive mindset that this is for my improvement. So nobody is there to attack you. 360-degree evaluation is targeted for personal development. One way or the other, you are also influenced by what other people think you are. No matter how much you tell ourselves, I don't care about what you think about me. But there are certain things you do. There are certain things you stop doing or you will not do because other people are watching. Even though no one is watching you the same way you think they are watching you. Because everyone focuses on their lives. Everyone has their own worries. Everyone is selfish on their own way. So we do things in reflection to what other people think we are. And that's why we call it social mirror effect. That says, I become what I think you think I am. If I think you think I'm a great communicator, what do I become? I try to become the great communicator and prove to you that I am what you think. I don't want to lose the repetition. If you have someone who smokes and you want to encourage this person to stop smoking, and you tell you, I know that you're a smoker, so there is no incentive for him not to smoke in front of you. But if you tell that person, I know you have stopped smoking, will he want to lose that repetition? So even if he smokes, when he comes closer to you, he will try to be a good person. You know, there was this girl that I know she's a bad girl. But anytime I see her, I always tell her that, yeah, a good girl. You're a better person now. So what she tried to do when she sees me, she always tried to behave and be that good at that I think she is. But when I think this person is bad, then he can do his badness in front of me. So what is he trying to prove again? So even if you want to change the behavior of a person, a colleague, a spouse, children, you can give them a repetition. You can give them identity that you want them to be. And then they will reflect. So now ask yourself, what are you reflecting from other people thinking of you? That's also another self-perspective of who you are. So check in your life, what are you reflecting from the social mirror? Another strategy for self-awareness is seeing yourself from other people's eyes and ears. Have you ever had your story narrated by yourself? Have you ever sat down and said, this is the story of my life, and you narrate it like every situation, even if it's a negative situation, bad situation? So anytime you do that, you realize that you are now understanding yourself in that story better than the way you are thinking about yourself in that story. That is why I want to encourage you to create a confession group, or rather, revelation group. This is a group that may not necessarily be among the cycle of your family. They may not have to be a cycle of your friends who may eventually judge you or use that against you. These are safe groups where you can meet them and narrate your story. This is my story. Even if you have a bad experience in your relationship, you have a breakup, or you have a separation, you want to narrate what happened in the story, narrate that story. Hear yourself the way other people hear you, from other people's ears. That way you will now see, oh, that's how I am. Is that what really happened? Now you see it from a different perspective. So hearing your story, hearing what happened to you from your perspective, from your narration, enables you to see it clearer and better. Another strategy I'm going to share with you, which is, I don't know, we are counting the number, but just keep writing the strategy. Strategy for self-awareness is identifying your strengths and your weaknesses. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. You cannot know yourself if you don't know what you are good at and what you are bad at. But here is a catch. A lot of people think they have weaknesses in certain areas, but actually, they don't have weaknesses in those areas. They only have lack of experience. So a lot of people mistaken lack of experience as mistakes, as weaknesses. So some weaknesses are not accepted as your weaknesses because they are just lack of experience. Oh, I have weaknesses in public speaking. No, you don't have weaknesses in public speaking. You only have lack of experience. If you have the experience, those areas will not be your areas of weaknesses. So you have to do the vetting of the list of things that you think are your weaknesses. So don't just put yourself down and say, I'm weak in this area. And when you identify your strengths and your weaknesses, which one will you work more on? Will you want to work more on your strengths or more on your weaknesses? What do you think? Weaknesses. Work on your weaknesses. Weaknesses. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. But you see, life is too short to focus on areas that you don't have strengths. No human being is perfect. You have to embrace your true and genuine weaknesses and live with them. And that's why we have a teamwork. Areas where you have weaknesses, you augment it or you complement it by bringing people in your life to your life that have strengths in those areas. So life is too short not to focus on your strengths. So focus more on your strengths than you do on your weaknesses. Especially as we are grown up as adults, now it's high time now to utilize what we have, what are our assets. Utilize them. You have a brand new Mercedes car in your garage, and you're not utilizing it. But you have an old Honda car in the other garage. You focus your energy more on fixing this old car. Are you wasting your time? Most likely you are. Why wouldn't you service the new Mercedes car you have, utilize it, and cover longer distance before other people go ahead of you? So focus on your strengths. But I'm not asking you to also forget your weaknesses. So I'm not asking you to focus zero attention on your weaknesses. But okay, try to improve if you can. Try to have experience in those areas. But utilize more of your strengths. But how do you now build a strength? You can see an area where you don't have a strength and build strength in it. So this is the strategy. For me to know my areas of strength, the first thing I need to discover, ask myself, what do I do that I love doing? Second thing you need to build is the skill around it. So when two things come together, love and skill, passion and skill, they become your talents. So talent equals to skills plus passion. And you can build passion and skill in any area you want. If you are lucky you have passion, that's halfway. Then bring your skill to the area where you have passion. If you have a skill in an area where you don't have a passion, then you can bring passion to the skill. So identify this and apply it in your life. What are my passion? Do I have skill around them? Match the two. If I have a passion and I have skill, bring skill to it. So build the strengths in areas that are powerful and important that serves you well. For example, technology, AI. I don't have a skill, I don't have passion for it. You can build it through experience. So once you can bring your talent and utilize your talent to become useful in society and selflessly serve other people, that's when you become successful. So by doing that, you're also developing yourself. Because the journey of personal development begins with self-awareness, the topic for today. You cannot develop yourself as a person until you know yourself, discover yourself, develop yourself, and then utilize yourself. So 3 stages of personal development is discovery, development, and utilization. So which stage are you? Some people will be at development stage, but they are developing the wrong skill because they missed the first stage, which is discovery. So discover yourself first, then develop the skills around the area of strength, and then utilize it in your life. There are some people that build the skills, but they are not utilizing it. What's the essence of you having a brand new car, but you are not utilizing it? It's useless. So follow through this journey and ask yourself where you are and where you are heading next. Another strategy for self-awareness is called emotional self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness. When you are emotionally high, ask yourself, what happened? What was the trigger? What triggers your emotion? Do you know that? A lot of people are running high emotions without them knowing. They don't even know the sources of it. There is no awareness. And they keep falling into the same trap of the emotion over and over again. So self-awareness begins from knowing what triggers your emotion. Another strategy for self-awareness is called mindfulness. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is where you become aware of your feeling, aware of your thinking, and see the pattern of those thoughts around you. This is why you bring your mind to your body. Your mind is now becoming aware of what's going on in your head, in your physiology, and your physical environment. Mindfulness is about powerful presence. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware that there are only 2 ACs and 3 fans. I'm aware there are only 8 lights, 9 lights, or even 12 lights in this room. I'm aware that this part of, being aware of your surrounding enables you to discover and see happenings around you and see patterns and discover what's going on in your life and who you are. That's mindfulness. Another strategy for self-awareness, I want you to write it down, is called reflective journal. Reflective journal. Now, this is where you put down all your daily experiences, all your daily thoughts. How many times have you remembered this bad experience? How many times have you remembered this person? How many times you have this negative thought about someone else? When you are writing these experiences, you will then see the pattern of those thoughts. And then you discover what's going on in your life. There might be somebody that you hate, you don't like, and you keep thinking about this person over and over. When you check your reflective journal, you discover how much time you focus on this person. And you see that this person has taken larger proportion of your life. And that way, you become aware of the history of your mind on a daily basis. So that is reflective journal. This is very, very important. The next strategy is continuous feedback. Continuous feedback. Whatever happened to you, whatever you do, ask people for evaluation. Ask people for feedback. How did I do? How did I perform in this conference? Was I active? Was I quiet? Always ask for feedback. How did I do it? When you presented a report, ask your boss, how was it? Is it looking good? You always see me asking my friends around me, hey, how was my speech? How did you see me on TV? I always ask people. And I want people to give me that feedback. That will help me to know, oh, have I done well? Yeah. Sometimes feedback is when people are asking you to do it again. When you do one thing and people say, okay, do it again, that means that's a feedback. I ask somebody, if one radio station invites you once and they don't invite you again, you know what happened, right? Well, when they invite you once and you perform well, they want to have you again. Yeah. Not for the sake of speaking highly of ourselves. When we started the journey with the NJC, they said, okay, let's do it again. And now we're doing it again and then again. Almost the fourth time. So these are feedback that you can see. Sometimes people will not give you that kind of direct feedback. But through their actions, there are some non-verbal feedback that you can see, okay, that's a sign. That's a good sign. So build consistent feedback around your life. Another strategy is called personality tests. Personality tests. In one of my books, I spoke about psychometrics, where I come up with 12 different personalities of people. And if I know your personality, then I can tell you a story without even knowing you. I can predict how you behave. I can place you in a better role that suits you well. So conduct yourself personality test. Know who you are. And also know the personality of people around you. That gives you awareness of your weaknesses and your strengths. So I'm going to share with you this link. You can even write it down. You can visit this website. It's called 12personalities.com. 12personalities.com. So when you visit this website, you will take your test and then see who you are. And then read about that group. For example, when I took the test, I found out that I'm a protagonist. So once you know that that's my group, the only thing you need to do is just to go and search for protagonists. Whatever you read about protagonists, you are talking about me. So you know who I am. So self-awareness is also can be enhanced through personality tests. Another strategy is active listening and observation. Active listening and observation. You know, sometimes people will not come out directly and tell you about yourself. But through non-verbal cues, they can send signal to you. There's a way I can do with my body language, my facial expression, to tell you I'm not interested in you. To tell you what you are saying is rubbish. And there's a facial expression and body language I can give to you and say, okay, you are doing well. So active observation, body language around you, what people say, how they say it, their tone. Listen to it. And that way you receive information about how people think about you. Another thing I also want you to do is continuous learning. Continuous learning about self-awareness, self-discovery, and personal development. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube channels, and then you see how you can improve your self-awareness. And you can also practice emotional regulations. Expose yourself to a difficult situation, to a difficult event, and practice emotional regulation. and then learn from that. I also want you to build the growth mindset. Growth mindset. You can write it down. This is where you take on new challenges, difficult challenges in your life, even though you don't have certainty of you making it, but you still go ahead and take those challenges and learn from your failures if you made one, and learn from your success if you are successful. So don't be afraid of taking new challenges. Embrace them. That way you realize what you are capable of doing and what you are not capable of doing and how to improve. So if what you do is to avoid chances of failure, you will not succeed. Like as I was driving, I was playing one of my previous speeches that says, don't be afraid of chances of failure. People who are not afraid of failing are people that succeed. Anything you do that, I'm okay. If I fail, I will learn. If I succeed, I'm successful. So then you win. But when you're afraid of failure, and the fear of that failure overwhelm you, then you become the failure. So the growth mindset says, try all the challenges. Embrace all the possibilities. Even if you fail, learn from your failure. And second to the last strategy for self-awareness is called asking why. Why? Anytime you think of something, anytime you behave in a certain way, ask yourself, why did I do this? Why did I say that? Why did I think like that? This way you know your core values. You know what is most important in your life? The why of your life are your values. So ask yourself all these questions. That way the answers tells a lot about who you are. And then lastly, I want to end with this common saying that says, if you want to know a man, if you want to know a true color of a man, you give him three things. What and what? Power, money. Did you say woman? Okay, so I didn't say woman, but let me add woman since you say it. The true color of a man is revealed when you give them money. When you give them power. Power and money, they don't change people, right? They reveal who you are truly. A lot of people say the power has changed him. No. It has revealed who he is truly. So what are you doing when you get the money? That is who you are. What you were doing before the money arrives, that wasn't you. That you being humble for the poverty around. But when you have more money, that's who you are truly. When you have power, it reveals who you are. Maybe before you become the director, you are a kind, generous, humble person, you visit people, you smile, you become the director, and you start frowning. So you're a frowny person. So who you are after power and money? I don't know about women. Maybe I see Abdullah and say, this is a beautiful woman, keep her for me, I'm coming back. After 1 year, I'm coming back. Take care of her. So when I come back, if I find herself, fine, that's a good one. You're a good man, right? So you know true color of people when you hand them over this trust. So ask yourself, when you have this access to these opportunities, what do you do? And through your mindfulness, remember, check about mindfulness and reflective journaling, then you know who you are, whether you are trustworthy or not. So these are strategies for self-awareness. And I want you to go through this list of things we discussed, tools for self-awareness, and practice as many as you can in your life. I'm not asking you to do them all. Maybe you can do 360-degree evaluation. You can do your weaknesses and strengths metrics. You can do emotional awareness. You can do mindfulness. You can do reflective journaling. You can do continuous feedback. You can do personality tests. You can do active listening. You can do continuous reading. You can do the action of why. Anyone you choose is up to you. But choose at least 2, 3 of them and embed them in your life. That way you have improved awareness of who you are. So that is the first part of today, because we're talking about self-awareness and self-management. Remember, if you have questions, you can always interject, ask, and contribute, and make add value to what we are discussing. But after knowing yourself, after becoming self-aware, the next thing you need to do is to manage yourself. Now I know myself. The next thing I need to do is to manage myself. Self-management gives you personal effectiveness. An effective person is an effective manager. So what I want you to be in this room is to become effective people. And I'm going to share with you 12 elements of personal effectiveness. When you do these 12 things, you become an effective person. Right? But what is effectiveness? Effectiveness is your ability to achieve the desired outcome using limited time, energy, and resources. The most scarce and expensive resources in the world are time, energy, and money. You see, you need time so that you can do everything faster. So in this life, you need speed so that you can be ahead of other people. Now, how do you save time and do everything in half of the time it takes other people to do it? If it takes 1 hour to do something, I'm going to do it in half of that time. You now increase the speed of your life. How many people have lived longer, but they are not as successful as some people that lived younger? So life is not about how much or how long you live, but how well you live, the value you add to your life. Somebody might live 25 years in this life, but could achieve more than somebody who has lived 75 years. It's all about what you do with your time efficiency. And time efficiency can only happen to people that are effective. And that is why I'm going to share with you this secret of personal effectiveness. When you talk about energy, people get stressed and die. One of the quickest ways to die young is to accumulate so much stress in your head. It makes you look older, you lose your beauty, you lose your brain agility. Whenever you sit down, you feel sleepy, you are losing the moment, you are losing your focus, you are losing attention. And you are no longer interested in your life, you are not happy. That's because you have what I call the mental fatigue. Mental fatigue is a continuous exhaustion of your brain power. Your brain is tired, it's asking you to pause and relax, but you continuously put your brain in a continuous stress mode. What happens to the brain? The brain will shut down. Suddenly you start having headache, you're becoming irritated, you become provoked from the slightest provocation, you lose your brain power, you have mental block. Somebody who was brilliant is no longer brilliant. It's all because of stress. Not to have too much stress in your brain. Because the more stress you have in your brain, the more cortisol you have inside the brain. Cortisol is a very dangerous hormone that is secreted whenever you are stressed. And when cortisol becomes too much in your brain, they eat the neurons that are important inside your brain, and you lose your brain power. So how do you have less energy and achieve more? And of course, you're going to have more money. How do you save money and do more things with little money you have? So these are the benefits you get when you become personally effective. Generally, you become ahead of other people because you have personal growth, you have professional success, and you have higher fulfillment. The purpose of life is not to achieve all these things. It's to be fulfilled. It's to be happy. And these things I'm going to share with you are things you do and not the things you have. So all personal development skills are things we don't have, but we do them. Because when we do them, they become process. They become choice. We now decide when to do them. And now ask ourselves, how do we do them? So now let's get to the journey of these 12 elements. And I want you to write them down and do as many as you can. So bring out your note, like we said in the beginning. Write it and then review it later and see how you can implement it in your life. So I want everyone to write these 12 elements. Remember, tomorrow we are going to have a quiz, a fun quiz. It's going to be very fun, and everyone will be happy. Even the previous set, they were happy when they were doing the quiz. Quiz is going to be presented on the screen, and if every question will have like 15 seconds, you read it. It's OBJ, A, B, C, D. Number 1 is A, just to test your level of understanding. There's no consequences. Feel free. Don't run. It's fun. There's no consequences. People will not know what you've gotten. All right? We're not going to report to you. You're not going to lose the certificate. So let's go through these 12 elements. The first element of personal effectiveness is called set a clear purpose. Set a clear purpose. Set a clear purpose. Purpose. P-U-R-P-O-S-E. So what do I mean by purpose? Let me give you a story of one of my students. In one of my MBA classes, one of my students walked in very late. And I asked him, why are you late? He's always late in my class. Just give me one flimsy excuse every day. And one day I asked him, why are you in my class? He said, he's just in my class just to get the attendance. And I said, why do you want to get the attendance? He said he wants to pass the course. And I asked him, why do you want to pass the course? He said, because he wants to get the certificate. And I said, why do you want to get the certificate? He said, because he wants to be promoted. And I said, why do you want to be promoted? He said, because he wants to have a higher pay, a pay raise. You want to be paid higher salary. And I asked him, why do you want higher salary? And he paused. Then he said, I want higher salary so that I can have more money to buy a car and a house for my mother. He wants to buy his mother a car and a house. That is his purpose. His purpose in my class is not to get the attendance. His purpose in my class is not to get the A, it's not to get the certificate, it's not to be promoted, it's not to get the money, but to get his mother a car and a house. Now you see there's a difference between a purpose and a goal. A lot of people have mistaken goals for purpose. If I ask you, what is the purpose of you being here? My purpose here is to understand. No. Your purpose is the fifth layer of your why. Why are you here? To understand. Why do you want to understand? So that I can be a better person. Why do you want to be a better person? So that I can help my organization. Why do you want the organization to go higher? Keep asking yourself. Whatever destination you arrive where you cannot answer why, you've reached your bus stop, that's your purpose. The tail end result, the purpose of your life is your purpose. The tail end result of your life, outcome of your life is your purpose. Now ask yourself, in NJC, what is my purpose? In my life, what is my purpose? In my personal life, social life, what is my purpose? So I want you to come up with 3 different types of purposes. Personal purpose, social purpose, and professional or career purpose. And make sure whatever you are doing at every moment is in line with one of these purposes. If you ask yourself at any moment what you are doing cannot be linked to any of these purposes, then you are wasting your time. Just quit that thing and don't do it. A lot of people work in the jobs or in jobs that are not related or connected to their purpose. Why are you doing it? Because achieving purpose is the measure of your success. Successful people are people who set purpose and achieve them. So personal effectiveness begins with purpose. How do you know you are effective if you don't know your purpose? You are only effective if we see you moving closer to your purpose. So your purpose is the baseline for measuring whether you are effective or not. If you want to manage anything, the first thing you need to do is to measure it. Anything that you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So what is a measurement of your effectiveness? What is a measurement of your success? It begins from your purpose. So ask yourself, what is your purpose? You may not have to answer it right now, right away, but you have to go home and ask yourself, why am I in this world? This is your spiritual purpose. This could be your also personal purpose. And then why am I in NJC? For a lot of people that know me, you know, even though I'm a professor in academic environment, I don't like working in academic environment. But the only purpose why I'm there is just to get to the peak of the career, become the professor, and then quit. The moment I reach the top there, then I will quit. And then go and do other things I love doing. So this is my target. Then what is your target in NJC? Do you want to become the chief executive secretary? You want to become the director? At which year do you want to resign? Ask yourself. One of my students once said he wanted to be a billionaire at the age of 25. And I said, the clock is ticking down. And I said, okay, let's start counting. He's about 22, 23 now. And he's doing well. He's now in Lagos doing export business. So anything that you want to do, you schedule it. Say, so date, so time I'm going to do this, so time I'm going to achieve this. You are likely to do it. Anything that is scheduled is likely to be done. That is number one, setting a clear purpose. Number two, for you to be personally effective, you need to have prioritization and delegation skills. Prioritization and delegation skills. You see, when you wake up in the morning, you'll be faced with numerous choices of what to do during the day. Maybe family task, personal task, social task, professional task. So many things you have to do them. But you don't have enough time to do everything. You have to prioritize. You have to come up with scale of preference. You guys should remember the scale, the metrics that says importance and urgent tasks, right? Important and urgent tasks. When you wake up in the morning, you need to write down the list of all your to-do tasks and then group them in 4 groups. Group A is a group that says important and urgent tasks. Important and urgent tasks. You finish those things that are urgent and important. Then you move to the next group, which is the group of not urgent but important. So those tasks that are in the group of not urgent but important, you decide when to do them. And the moment the time you schedule for them arrives, then become urgent. They become urgent and important, which means you have to do them. But anything that is urgent but not important, ask someone to do it for you. Don't waste your time doing things that are not important, but they are very urgent. And that's why you see me surrounding myself with people with different skills. So that I'm looking for any kind of task that is not important, but is urgent, and then I'll ask someone to do it for me. So also you. But anything that is not urgent, that is not important, you delete it. You don't do it. So you realize that you find yourself in group A and group B only. You are either doing urgent and important tasks or important and not urgent tasks. So this is prioritization. But even in the group of A, which are important and urgent, you might also be faced with choices. Will you start your day doing difficult tasks or simple tasks? Some tasks are difficult to finish. Some tasks are simple to finish. Will you want to start with the simple ones and then migrate and do the difficult ones? Or do you want to crush the difficult ones and then go and do the simple ones later? Let's share experience. What will you do? What do you do normally? Do you start with simple ones or difficult ones? You start with simple ones. Why? That will help you to get to the difficult ones? If you start with the difficult one, they will weigh you down before you go to. Do you agree with that? Abdullah? Huh? You do the difficult ones. Okay, you start with the difficult ones, you get the muscles, and then you crush the small ones.
Once you start with the difficult ones, you are actually fit to do that. And the easy ones.
The easy ones, if you become easier, because you overcame the difficult. What do you think? This direction. Sir, what do you think? Shall we start with simple or difficult tasks? Simple to complex. So you migrate. I thought you have consensus there. Difficult to simple. Any different opinion? Simple, then you migrate to difficult. Well, it's up to you. Everyone has different preference. You see, for me, when I wake up in the morning, I would rather do the difficult tasks. When I can overcome difficulty, then other things becomes minor and easy and simple. But it comes with its consequences. The consequence is that you might get tired, overwhelmed, you might lose your willpower. Even the simple ones now become even difficult because you don't have energy. And then you might end up spending your whole day on one thing, and you look back and see you have not accomplished anything. You have not ticked anything yet. But if you start with simple ones, you can finish one, tick, another one, tick, another one. When you look at the ticks you have on your to-do list, oh wow, I'm successful, I'm great. Because success breeds success. When you achieve one success, you are motivating yourself to achieve another success. But if you have not achieved any success yet, you're likely to give up. So it's up to you to decide. But for me, I know myself, I always start with difficult ones and then migrate to simple ones. But majority of people would rather go for simple just to encourage themselves, motivate themselves, and then go to the difficult ones. So if you are facing importance and difficulty tasks, the first thing you need to do, like I said, in my case, I start with the most important and difficult. Then I go to most important and difficult. But I don't do difficult and not important. But things that are simple and not difficult, things that are simple and, what's the other way? Things that are important, so they're not important but simple, I delegate it to someone. So let me take it again. Things that are not important and simple, I ask somebody to do it for me, delegate. So these are the instructions for each of these metrics. So you can Google it and learn more about that. And delegation, there are certain things you cannot do. You assign somebody who can do it for you. When it comes to delegation, you do not assign job to people next to your rank. You didn't assign a job to anybody. You only assign it to somebody who can do it. Even if that person is the lowest rank. Even if he is not next to your rank. Right? You can also include people who want to learn and build skill around it, but that will come secondary. But the first line of delegation are people that could do the job. That is delegation. That's number 2, right? Let's move to number 3. Number 3 is avoiding procrastination and distraction. Avoid procrastination and distraction. Procrastination is putting off a job longer and longer and longer. It's you delaying what you're supposed to do now, and you say you will do it later. When the later time comes, you say you will do it later. Later, 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 and later, and later. You continue to delay it continuously. And research has found out that the more you delay a task, the more stress you have in your brain. Because your brain will be hanging on this pending task. than the ones that you have done. So the brain has higher tendency to remember unfinished tasks than the ones that have not been started, than the ones that have even completed. So you are thinking, you are worried whether this job can be completed or not, will weigh your brain down. So it's better you schedule when to do it and then do it. So I'm going to share with you 3 strategies to avoid procrastination. The first thing you need to do to avoid procrastination is called chunking. Chunking, C-H-U-N-K. C-H-U-N-K, chunking, meaning that you break the task into small pieces. You break a difficult task into simple, tiny tasks. If you want to write a report, don't sit down with the intention of writing the whole report at once. Say the first maybe chunk is gather information. Second one is the draft. Even the draft, you can break it further. The intro, the middle, the ending. You know, you just break the task. Instead of looking at one intimidating, big, and bulky task, you now break it into pieces. That's what chunking is. So you bring the one chunk, and you look at it as a small and tiny and simple task. You finish it. Take the next chunk, finish it. You realize that you are not intimidated. You are not scared. You are doing it continuously. That's the first strategy. The second strategy is schedule when to do it. The only reason why you are not doing your task is because you have not scheduled it yet. So anything you schedule is likely to be done. This conference is scheduled. That's why we are here by the grace of God. So anything you want to do in your life, schedule it. If you are not doing it, it's because you have not scheduled when to do it. Scheduling means set a time, a date when you want to do it. When the time comes, your brain will take that as obligation to do them. That's number 2. Number 3, start from the beginning. Start from the beginning. Begin from the beginning. Any job you start, you are likely to finish it. The most difficult part of every task is the beginning. It's the starting. Because there is this effect called Zeigarnik effect. Zeigarnik effect is the one I mentioned, that your brain will get hooked to an unfinished task. The brain will keep reminding you, come and finish it, come and finish it. And you will not rest until you finish it. Because our subconscious minds are powerful. They store all the information around us, but we may not be aware of them until when we consciously want to look for those information. So start somewhere, your brain will continue doing the job for you. For example, when they say I'm going to give a speech, the first thing I need to do to start one point, my introduction, my brain will keep doing the rest without me knowing. My subconscious mind, which is more than 70% of my willpower. And the moment I sit down for the second time, all the ideas start dropping because the brain has finished processing them. That's procrastination, right? And then avoid distraction. I will talk about distraction later on as we go through this list. Then number 4, right? We are doing number 4. Number 4 is time blocking. I brought out time blocking as a separate time, like your watch. Time blocking. It's a strategy of time management where you block all your hours. For every hour, there is something you block yourself to do. When the time comes, you stop everything and do this thing, only this thing. For example, when I say, anytime that is 9 p.m., I must start reading. You are in the middle of watching a movie, nice movie, very suspense scene, and then it's 9 o'clock. You already blocked that time for reading. You stop what you are doing and you read. So have a time blocking strategy in your life. Every o'clock, every hour, there is what you must do. That also helps you to achieve more and become more effective. The next strategy for personal effectiveness is called discipline and self-control. Discipline and self-control. I normally tell my students, never be disciplined in your life. You don't have to be so disciplined in your life. The only thing you need to do is to have a discipline in doing one good behavior. Get one good behavior and build the discipline in doing this behavior. Consistency in one good behavior. Because one good thing leads to another. But the moment you say you have to be so serious in your life, everything's serious, so disciplined, life is going to be very, very difficult for you. But when you grab one behavior, you become disciplined in doing it, within no time, that behavior becomes your habit. And then you pick another behavior, build a discipline around it, it becomes your habit. Very soon, before you know it, you're becoming a great person. So discipline is also sticking to your words, sticking to your promise, and getting the best out of everything you are designed to do, and giving your best. Discipline is when you are in this workshop, you are taking note, you are paying attention, you are asking questions, you are interjecting me, you are contributing. And that's the way you bring the best out of this moment. And another aspect of this element is the self-control. Self-control is a major determinant of success in this life and in the hereafter. Do you know that it's lack of self-control that led us to be where we are in this world? Otherwise, we'll have been in the heaven. Me and you will have been discussing and gisting in the heaven. We'll not have been in this world. Because our parents have lost self-control. Adam and Eve, they lost self-control. And they ate the forbidden apple. And that's why they were punished. They were brought down to this world. And that's why we are here. This workshop will have been happening. Will it even happen in paradise? In the heaven, you don't even need workshop. Do you need workshop? You only need workshop in this world. All this we are doing is part of our punishment. So you see, willpower is what gives you the self-control. It's what determines what you get in this world and hereafter. Who is successful is the one that have the highest willpower. There was a research that was conducted. Children were observed in an experiment. Children were put in a classroom and they were presented with marshmallow. It's like a sweet, like a chocolate. And it was placed in front of them. And they were told not to eat the sweet. If they don't eat the sweet, they will have an extra sweet. But if they eat this one, that's all what they will have. And their teacher will go and come back after 20 minutes. The teacher left them in the room, only them with marshmallows in front of them. Children were looking at this marshmallow. They were salivating. They wanted to swallow it. They wanted to sweet. Some of them, they could not resist the temptation. They started eating. Some, they had enough willpower. They resisted the temptation. And they did not eat the sweet. When the teacher returned, those that did not eat their marshmallow, they were given extra marshmallows for their willpower, for their ability to delay gratification. And those that ate their marshmallows didn't have extra. 40 years down the line, these children were observed. And they discovered that those children that had the strongest willpower, that resisted the temptation, that did not eat the marshmallow, they were more successful than those that ate the marshmallow. If you are successful, I just need to find out how much you can control your temptation. Even recently, I was giving a lecture on entrepreneurship. Someone asked me one question. What is one skill that is most important to be a successful person? And I said, control yourself. Ability to resist temptation. You want to do it. You have freedom. You have the access to do it. But you stop yourself from doing it because it's harmful, because it's forbidden, because it's not good. So people that can resist temptation, they are people with self-control. They are people with willpower. They are people who will be successful in this world and in the hereafter. Even God set so many temptations for us and said, don't go for it. We like it. We love them. But God said, no, don't do it. Just to test how much willpower we have. Those with higher willpower will be rewarded. Those without willpower, they will get punished. As simple as that. But here is a catch. Willpower has limitation. The more you utilize it, the less of it you have. Whenever you exercise your willpower, you'll have less of it. It's just like the fuel in your car. The more you drive, the more you use your car, the more you lose your fuel. So whenever you exercise willpower, you resist temptation, you are now losing the capacity to resist the second temptation. So the advice I give always is, whenever you resist one temptation, take a step back, relax, rejuvenate, sleep, and rest. By doing that, you are now refilling your willpower. And then you're likely to now have that kind of self-control over again. That is number 5. Okay, let's go to number 6. Number 6 is continuous learning. Continuous learning. 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 L-E-A-R. Yeah, learning. L-E-A-R. Like when you are knowing something. Eh? In Nigerian said learning. Nigerian says learning. I remember there was a class, in one of my classes, I said learning. I said, what did he say? Learning. And so he said, it's learning. I said, oh, maybe that's Nigerian accent. I don't know about that one. I need to learn that. So when he went to Google and searched, he said, oh, Prof, you're right. It's learning because there's R there. I said, but I've already learned the learning, the Nigerian one. So whatever is commonly understandable is the perfect word to use. Learning. Okay, learning. My mistake, please. Learning. Continuous learning. So learning. Okay. All right, whatever you wrote there. Okay, but continuous doing that thing. So you see, how much knowledgeable you are is not about how much you know, but how much you are willing to know more. But in this world, we are facing some enemies. People who don't like our progress. And these are not human beings. They are things that are around us that they limit our progress. They don't want us to progress. And these things, that we are born out of advancement. They were positive things, but they become our limitation. And they were born out of technology. Technology is very good, but in some ways, technology is our enemy. You see, in a movie, there is an actor, there is a boss. So, the boss of our lives are this technology. And that is why I want to share with you 3 big enemies that stop you from achieving personal effectiveness. And they are all digital enemies. And I call them as follows. Number one is called digital deluge. Digital deluge. From the word digital, and then you have deluge, D-E-L-U-G-E. Deluge is overload of information. When you are exposed to an overwhelming quantity of information, it's overwhelming. You want to learn so many things, but you are not catching up. Because courtesy of technology, all the information in the world are available in our fingertips. All the books are in our phones. All the podcasts, the videos, the articles we want to read, the blogs we want to read, they're all available. But we are here. We are not even moving. So the gap between what you need to know or you want to know and where you are represents your stress. And that puts you down. That weakens you. So the only thing you need to do to solve this problem is now increase your learning or reading speed. Or at least reduce the overload of information. Take what you can learn that's most relevant in your life and then focus on them. That's number one. Number 2 is digital dementia. Digital dementia. Digital dementia is a situation when 10 people went to a restaurant in Abuja, and the bill that was presented to them was 100,000 naira. and they were to contribute equally to pay this bill, how much each of them will pay? How much? 10,000 naira. And do you know what they did? They brought out their calculator and they were typing 100,000 naira divided by 10 people equals to. Just to arrive at 10,000 naira. Things you can do with your brain, now you are asking machine to do it for you. That's dementia. You are retarding your brain. You are making your brain useless. Remember the theory of use that says anything you don't use, you lose. Anything that you don't use it, you lose it. Keep your car in the garage for 1 year, you lose it. Keep your clothes for 1 year, you lose it. Keep your currency in your room for 1 year, you don't spend it, you lose it. Even if you are not losing the physical value, you are going to lose the market value. So if you don't use your brain, you lose your brain. Simple calculation of 333 multiplied by 777. People will start bringing calculator. Can you do that? 333 multiplied by 777. Everyone will say they want to bring calculator. But it's simple. So challenge your brain. You see, the brain thrives on complexity. Anything that gives toughness to the brain, that makes it difficult for the brain to do it, is what makes the brain to grow. And once the brain grows further, it never shrinks back. It's already expanded. So dementia is you not using your brain because machine technology is doing it for you. Even to write a speech, to write a report, people will now resort to GPT and say, ChatGPT, give me a report on this conference. This is what happened. Bam. You present it to your boss. I did it. But we are losing our creativity because when you don't challenge the brain, you lose the power of the brain. So digital dementia has reduced our capacity. Remember the people in the ancient time. How do they do these calculations? How do they store information? How do they write reports? No technology, no internet. They use their brain. So are we smarter as individuals? Maybe as a world, the world is getting smarter. But as human beings, in individual capacities, we are also losing the majority. So that's digital dementia. The last enemy is called digital distraction. Digital distraction. As I speak with you, some people are looking at their phones, they are not paying attention. And you see, one thing I always find out is that anything that happens in my life is designed to happen once and forever. Everything you are hearing from me is designed for you to hear it once and for all. Nobody will ever speak to you in this way I'm doing ever in your life. So this is the only moment you have. Capture it, utilize it. Otherwise, God has done his part. It's up to you to grab it and utilize it. A lot of people start complaining about lack of opportunities. But opportunities are around. They didn't grab it. Maybe opportunities are not physical, are ideas, are knowledge, but they are distracted by their phone. Because even so, yesterday somebody was talking about the level of attention span is reducing as the age is reducing. Even though I argue it, but he said your attention span is your age divided by 2. If you are 40 years old, your attention span is 20. If you are 18 years old, your attention span is 9 minutes. So the moment it reaches 9 minutes, your brain will start wandering, start traveling to catching stuff out there. Because of technology, because of these devices. How many times have we put our phones on silent or on flight mode, put them in our bag just to pay attention? A researcher has found out that even if you are to put your phone on the table, even if you are not looking at it, a portion of your brain is thinking about the phone. Maybe a notification is going to come, somebody is already sending you a message. But when you put it away, it's not within your sight, you are likely to focus more. So avoid the distraction. And I have to warn you here about what I call the social media trap. This is one of the biggest enemies of personal effectiveness. You see, this is what happened to you. Whenever you pick up your phone, you see one interesting video. You swipe to the next one, you enjoy it. You swipe to the next video, you enjoy it. So what's going on inside your brain? What's going on inside your brain is that the brain will say, wow, what a nice video. We like it, we enjoy it. The brain will start dancing, doing party inside your brain, and a hormone called dopamine will be secreted inside your brain. So your brain will be flooded with dopamine, and you are happy, you are thrilled, and you want to do it again. Okay, let's do it. We are happy. Let's do another one, another one, another one. The moment you stop, all the dopamine that got flooded in your brain will now drain, will flit away. So any dopamine that you get from easy and cheap tasks, it goes away easy and cheap. So you realize that you're no longer happy. The dopamine that used to flood your head is no longer there, and your brain wants to continue enjoying it. And then you bring your phone again and keep swiping. Again and again, you find yourself spending 3 hours, 4 hours swiping social media. You are trapped. And the moment you stop, you are angry, you are anxious, you are not happy. I just finished watching a movie, and I'm not happy again. I have to keep watching movies throughout my life, and you are wasting your time. Most of these things that are giving you cheap and easy dopamine are harmful to your life. So make your dopamine very expensive. A dopamine that comes from difficult tasks lasts longer. They don't drain fast. For example, during this conference, if I know you're happy, you're impacted, I'm going to be happy. The dopamine that comes to my brain is going to last longer. It gives me fulfillment than just me sitting at home watching movie. So make your dopamine expensive and avoid social media trap. You can even also teach your children how to become attentive and productive, make use of their lives. And because of this dopamine, you realize people cannot do difficult tasks. Why will someone do a difficult task to get dopamine 2 weeks after when they can just watch a movie, a short video, and get all the benefit now? So people will lose their willpowers. So that's social media trap. The next one, number what are we going to now? Number 7. Number 7 is embracing feedback. Embracing feedback. Feedback. You see, we just finished talking about self-awareness and how evaluation and feedback are useful. So, as a personally effective person, you want to receive continuous feedback. Even if they are critical feedback, take it and embrace it as a positive thing, as a gift. If they are negative criticism, ask yourself, are these negative criticism correct? Right? If they are right, then correct it. If they are wrong, forget about it. Simple. Okay, let's move faster. All right. So the next one is embracing difficult situation and uncertainty with positive mindset. Okay, I'm going to take it slowly. Embracing difficult situation and uncertainties with positive mindset. Embracing difficult situation and uncertainties with positive mindset. So no matter how negative the situation is, no matter how difficult, look at the best out of it. Be optimistic. Have a positive outlook in every situation. Look at the benefit, the lessons you get from difficult situations. Instead of complaining about it, look at the lessons from them. So be optimistic and positive in your thinking. Even uncertainties, things that are uncertain, be positive, optimistic. And also difficult people too. Yesterday we were talking about how to handle difficult people. By you now being the positive person, so that they can likely reflect from you. We'll talk about it later, or maybe tomorrow. So that's number 7, right? 8. So I'm moving to number 9. Number 9 is called emotional intelligence. You cannot be a personally effective person if you don't have emotional intelligence. Some people are emotional time bomb. They're just waiting for the slightest provocation and they will explode. Little trigger, they will explode. They cannot control themselves. And they experience what I call cognitive hijack, which is automatic cognitive process of information. You allow your brain to hijack and process the information and regulate how you react. These are some of the things we'll be discussing when you come to the next session. Then the next one, which is number 9. Sorry, number 10. You guys are following. Number 10 is communication skills. Communication skills. What is the most important communication skills? The most important communication skill is listening. Active listening. Listen first before you speak. Seek to understand, then to be understood. If you're walking into a room, don't try to talk. Understand people, and then they will understand you later. Some people they want to be understood. Hey, you have to understand me. No. Understand them first. That way you can lighten the middle ground. You can see why you have consensus. So, listening is a skill. Learn not to talk over people. Learn also not to overrule people. Learn not to talk about criticizing people when they talk. Even when you are doing an argument, they say no. Even if you don't believe in the opinion of the other person, okay, I understand your points. But the way I look at it is this way. Communication, I think we'll talk about it later today too. Communication skills. Another communication skill that is important is public communication skills. Public speaking skills. And that is why we have a master class called the public speaking. How to speak like great leaders. So it's a whole day workshop about public speaking. I think some of your staff attended some of our master class, I remember. So study more about public speaking and practice it, and then you'll be better. And then second to the last one is called well-being, health and well-being. Health and well-being. You see, you can die today. And if anybody dies today, the world will continue. NJC will not stop because someone has died. The same day that people escorted you to your grave, some of them will go and party the same day. If you are lucky, after 1 week, we forget about you. So in this life, you're on your own. You are the only one responsible for your health. And if you don't take care of your health, you will die. So many people die young, sudden, because they are not taking care of their health. So forget about the world. Forget about anybody. Forget about career. Focus on your life. Can you give your life for 1 billion naira? Then why are you sacrificing your life for something less than that? How much will you get in your career? So don't sacrifice your life for something that you cannot trade your life for. And that is why I want to give you 3 secrets to help you live longer, to help you improve your health and your well-being. When you do these 3 things, you'll be happy and you'll be healthier and your well-being will improve. The first thing you need to do is nutrition. Nutrition. You are sick because of the food you eat. The food we eat are the things that kill us. So your mouth, what you put in your mouth can kill you. So you have to be careful the kind of foods to eat and food to avoid. So watch over your nutrition. I think later today, yes, we will talk about the foods that you should eat that are very good for your health and your well-being. So I'm going to give you 11 of them. Put them in your diet, put them in your daily life, and then you will live longer. So nutrition comes first. Number 2 is exercise. When you exercise, you live longer. You improve your well-being and your health. your immune system will improve. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you exercised? The longer the period is, the more likely you are going to be affected by disease and illness. So exercise daily, because when you exercise, you are sending more blood to your brain, more oxygen to your brain. You are also improving your immune system. Anything that is good for the heart is good for the brain. So exercise is life. So keep doing exercise. The number 3 hack for you living a healthy and better life is called sleep. 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 S-L-E-E-P. How long should I sleep? How long is enough? And how do I sleep well? According to a research, it was found that an average adult, the minimal required sleeping hours is the minimum. I'm talking about minimum. The minimal sleeping hours is 6 hours. And the maximum is 10. The moment you sleep 11 hours, then you are sick. 11 hours makes your brain become lazy. Because for over 10 hours, you have not used your brain. Anything that you don't use, you lose. So the minimum is 6, the maximum is 10. And then find the average, 8 hours. So every day I must count how many hours of sleep I will have or I had to make sure that I have passed beyond the minimal bar. But it's not about only just meeting the minimum standard, but consistency in the duration and the timing of your sleep. You see, when you sleep, your brain does not sleep. In fact, that is when your brain will start working. Because that is when your brain will start cleansing itself, sanitation. That is when you have consolidation of information. All these things you are listening here are just temporarily in your short-term memory. It only gets cemented into your long-term memory during your sleep. So learning without sleep is equal to exhaustion. You're just wasting your time. So sleep will improve your immune system. It's time, right? I know. You know, she's a timekeeper. She keeps the time. But we are enjoying ourselves. Yeah? You are, right? Thank you. So, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. And moving to the last one, right? Are we the last one? Last one is called decision-making skills. Decision-making skills. Decision-making. You see, we are product of our decisions. Everything you see in your life is because of what you decide to do or not to do. Some decisions are simple to make, like what color of tie to wear, what kind of suit to wear, what kind of shoe to wear, what food to eat. But there are some complex, difficult, and uncertain decisions we have to make as individuals, as business people, as career people, even in our social lives. Even the choice of who to marry is a life decision. I remember, I think your senior management, this January, I taught them about decision making for 3 days. We went to Kaduna, we spent 3 days, and I was taking them through decision making skills, different approaches. So you too, you should have similar workshop on decision making. And I remember in another workshop, one young man asked me, how do I choose a wife? How do I decide what kind of wife or girl to choose to marry? And I picked one of the decision-making tools. And I discovered that it was contextual. It was perfectly fitting in the choice of who to marry. And I asked him not to narrow down to one choice. When you want to make a decision, don't just choose one among one option. Have as many options as you could. And like paired comparison strategy says, and when you have all the options, look at them in twos, in pairs, not as a large group. For example, if you have Lady A, Lady B, Lady C, Lady E, don't just look at them A, B, C, D, E, which one to choose? No. You now look at Lady A versus Lady B. Which one? A or B, A or B. And then you choose B. Now you pick B versus C. B and C. You choose B. Now you carry B again. You drop C. Now B versus D. B O D, B O D R, D. You're not picking D. Now you compare D versus E. V O E, V O D O E, D O E, and I said D. So you're choosing girl. It's the D girl. It's a Lady D. That's a paired comparison strategy. But I even went further and I said, now identify the major qualities you are looking for in a lady. And now rate each of them on the scale of 1 to 100, how much each of them scored in this grade, in this quality. You put it. And then for each quality, now you apply the weighted priority you give to it. Meaning that some people prefer a religious girl. So if you prefer religion the most, now you give a weighted proportion, higher weighted proportion to religion. For example, you might say, religion, I've given it 30%. And then you say, I want a girl that can cook very well. Cooking, okay, so I'll give it 20%. I want a girl that is beautiful, beauty. So beauty maybe is 15%. So now, according to priority, you now put a weighted proportion for each of these qualities. But the total summation of this weighted proportion must be 100. So whatever you rated this girl, multiply by their weighted proportion of that quality, that's the weighted score. And then you get the total. Any girl that has the highest point, she's the one you will marry. Very simple. Because you decide with your head, not with your heart. Most bad decisions we make in our lives is because we are deciding with what we feel, not what we think. Even in badminton, when I was playing badminton, one of my coaches said, he said, Prof, play with your head, not with your heart. And I would be playing very hard. I say, no, think. Know where to be, how to place the ball, only with your head. And what happens in badminton is what happens in our life. So these are the 12 elements of personal effectiveness. But the challenge is that you may not have to do them all at once. Pick the ones that you want to practice and build the discipline in doing them. And then little progress, little journey, you will get there. Just practice some of them. Because practice makes what? No. No? Practice makes progress. Practice makes progress. Anything you practice, you progress. You are not looking at your perfection. Because if you are looking at the perfect points, you practice something and you look at the distance ahead, you feel intimidated and you feel discouraged. But look back and see what you have covered. See the progress you've achieved. That way you become kind to yourself. You encourage yourself. You incentivize yourself to do more. So that little progress will make you to go even beyond your perfection point. You realize that even perfection is relative. That little progress you are thinking of will make you go even beyond that perfect point. So aim for progress. There is no perfection. Even in the quiz we're going to have tomorrow, I'm not asking you to get 100%. Just a little progress. Even if you get 1/20, that's fine. You have made progress from 0 to 1. So aim for progress, not for perfection. Thank you so much, personally effective people. I will see you in the next 15 minutes after the break. Thank you, and bye for now. Thank you. Bismillah.